planning and preparation for a 160-kilometre walk. So for me, this has been a challenge packing wise. You've probably noticed I've gone with a new bag and a whole new setup. I'm trying out these rather cool splash maps. I've got the entire route mapped out on something that folds down pretty much the size of a sock. There's going to be a number of firsts here for me. Planning and preparation for something on this scale in winter on the British coastline goes far beyond just the kit and equipment, and I think really I probably conceived this halfway through the summer, and I thought to myself, I haven't really challenged myself now for a while. I know that with challenge and discomfort sometimes comes growth, but there will always be factors outside of the norm, and I'm counting on those things to test me and to really challenge me and push me out of my comfort zone, so that ultimately down the road I can learn from them and I can grow. For me, planning for this started back in the summer. I had just finished building our off-grid cabin, which saw me lifting and shifting an awful lot of equipment, timber, things like that, and I was pushing my lower back and I wasn't looking after myself. That led me to embark on a journey with the chiropractor and saw me do a 12-week program of regular postural changes. I'm no spring chicken anymore, so I also had to accept that bitter pill. Now, I'm not doing this alone. I'm going to be with my friend Carl. Bit of a backstory. Me and Carl, we signed up at the same recruitment office. We went through the same basic training to earn our green berets, and we subsequently went to different commando units. I'll let him tell the rest of his story. I am looking to begin to build the confidence in a long distance endurance based skill set, so that I can carry on a series of challenges where I want to raise funds for great causes. I've already managed to raise some money this year for a charity called Scotty's Little Soldiers, which helps children of bereaved families from armed forces families. But I personally haven't done the entire route in one go ever before, and so I see this as a real challenge. So what Splash Maps have done here, which I think is pretty clever, is on one single sheet, there's nothing on that side, okay, you've got the entire route laid out in sections. Depending on whether you decide you're going to start down at Eastbourne or whether you decide you're going to start up at Winchester, you follow the series of pictures, okay, and it gives you the detail that you want and you really need from a 1 in 40,000 map, and it's actually in 3 different languages as well. But you also get some of these like lovely little historic notes and bits and pieces on here. Okay, so this will be our first map. As you can see, it says I, that then correlates to I. Okay, so I'll be then following this one to H. We come down to H, we'll follow H all the way along to G. At G, we'll then jump over to here, okay, until we hit F. From F, we're on to F. Please excuse the shadows. From F, go to E, jump up to E, over to D, and then we're up here on the next page to D all the way along, which brings us into C, and then C to B, and then B down to A. So quite literally, you've got the entire thing laid out here. So for me to do this using standard mapping, I would need to have to carry about 3, maybe 4 maps. But having this one single sheet that's scrunchable, waterproof, and in bad weather I can just literally put it down my coat and I'm off somewhere into cover. It's absolutely brilliant. It's got a range of uses. So I see these as a highly dependable, useful item. You can draw on them, and then obviously using the right pens you can wipe that off. They're called splash maps. Outside of the pack itself, I've also gone for a couple of pretty bog standard, not going to break the bank walking poles. Now I don't normally use these, but bearing in mind the distance involved here and the fact that I've got to carry all these extra bits and pieces for the fact that it's winter, I've just gone and bought a fairly cheap basic, there you go, Vango bright orange cover, just from a safety aspect. If we do need for some reason some assistance, it's always far easier to get seen if you're wearing something like this. Tasmanian Tiger have done a pretty good job, and I would say that this is a very well thought out bag. because I had to carry these extra items, I spoke to the team and I managed to get myself sent out a TAC 9 pouch, which is like a 10 litre pouch, which is an add-on. Now the only colour they had available to me was this desert colour, but I'm really not fussed. This is ideal because I've managed to put some of my lighter weight items in here so that I could really keep the weight as close to my back as possible. This thing has got a really lovely system. Now they have a couple of models. I think they have something called a V2, which is another type of setup. I can very easily adjust the height and the settings on this bag, so I've got it set for myself so that I can really feel that weight just across my hips. It comes as bog standard nowadays, but the chest strap, which obviously is another energy saver. I've also got these other pouches with some pretty substantial hand grips on them. Now inside here I've decided to put all of the cooking stuff. This is all pretty much food, and or either a thermos flask or one large water bottle. I've decided to put my roll mat inside here, and then there's a change of clothes and some stuff in there. On this side here you can see I've got one bungee kicking about, just because I think with the whole camping scenario we might need a bungee. That'll always come in handy. I just made up these little tabs so that I can access waterproof trousers very easily and quickly. I'm only going to have the Gore-Tex trousers with me as my coat has just had a full fab seal. In addition to that, I've also cleaned, scrubbed all my boots and got my boots really ready for this. So in these little pockets are things like just the back off of a push bike. It just means if you're walking along a section of road and you've got that on the back of your day sack, that's always helpful. Okay, and then inside here again we've got some wet wipes. This is going to be a lifesaver. Okay, this is so that I can go for a wee in the night inside my sleeping bag. Okay, in addition to that we've got some toilet paper. Roll this thing over. Okay, and slide them off. That's pretty easy. I'm going to leave those on there, guys. Teas and coffees mainly, and then just your standard pocket rocket lighter, okay, with the dual gas, which you've seen me use before, guys. It's very simple. That screws in to the bottom here, okay, and then boom, cup goes on. Starting off with the top flap, you're going to want to get to your water, and you're going to want to get to a first aid kit, your waterproofs or your warm clothing. These are kind of things that want to come out first. We've got a little pouch which was formerly a weapons cleaning pouch for the Mini-Me, and it just makes a great little organiser for putting things like a decent penknife with a little saw on there, a little candle, another fire striker, some antiseptic wipes, one of these little Kinder Egg things with some of these little fire plugs inside. Okay, these are quite handy. You just literally tear these apart and you can strike some sparks into those. So if I need to get a fire on, okay, that's readily available. I've got a decent working silver compass. Check out our video on navigation, where I kind of do the run through and explain how these things work. So it's always handy to have, and some water purification tablets. This pack will most likely probably sit in my coat pocket. My trusty head torch. Now this is an old one that I've had since service. Okay, it's a Petzl and it takes 3 AAA batteries, a couple of chocolate bars, first aid kit. Now that's got in there everything you'd expect to find from me, including the cigar cutter, which is just because I'm really looking forward to having a nice cigar at the end of this. All the usual faces in here, a small iodine paint on substance, microporous tape, plasters, anti-inflammatories, some of this stuff which I probably won't need, but it's like a gauze, it's like a fake second skin. I've got some of that in the bottom there as well. So nothing sort of super drastic. Now in the top of here, easy to get to, and very importantly, okay, is this small waterproof pouch. Now this in here is going to be my lifeline in terms of being able to maintain and control my heat loss. So I've got this beautiful merino wool hat, which was knitted by a local lady here in the valley, Beth. Hello Beth, if you're watching. Her company is called Prowling Leopard Knits. It's only just started up, and this is super warm, and I'm really made up with it. I can't thank her enough. And in addition to that, I've got my classic Commando head over, and this is the thicker wool winter version. Between the two, I'm going to be roasting. My gloves are going to be kept permanently in the pockets of my coat. I've just put loads and loads of quick food in the side here. My actual meals, when you're stopping, I've put separately into one massive pack, but my sort of picky on-the-go food is kind of just put in here. So biltong, the odd protein bar. As you can see, I've gone for the large clean canteen full of water, and I've opted this time for the Pathfinder School with the lid, with the slits in there, a good old-fashioned Sea to Summit spoon. In this one, it's a similar sort of sketch. So there's a great big food pack made up with all kinds of treats. Just a bog standard little thermos flask. Now where this is going to come in super handy is at night time, when I need to make sure the very last thing I do is fill that with hot water, so that in the morning, once I've lost a body of warm liquid, I can replace that warm liquid quite quickly, and my body hasn't got to work any harder to heat up freezing cold water going back into my system. And the morale is hiding right in the bottom of here, the Skittles. And all I've done is I've just pierced the bag ever so slightly to get all the air out of it. Okay, and some fruit crumbs, same sort of flag. Now inside here, I think there's another pack of biltong. There you go. Okay, so in here, first thing to come out is my bag with my foot care kit in it. And what I've got in here is a couple of different types of sock, and then some good old-fashioned athlete's foot powder, so I can pre-powder my socks the night before. Okay, I've got the zinc oxide tape. Okay, the next thing I've gone for is the Berghaus XL sleeping mat. So this thing is a whopping 63 centimeters wide. So I treated myself to this just before Christmas. I've heard great things about it. At the very least, I'm impressed with how small it packs down for something of that size. It weighs just over 1 kilo. So further to that, I've changed my sleeping bag. What's great about this bag, it's got this kind of clip that really helps to secure things, and you can cinch down the top. In addition to that, I've just transferred from the Carrymore was this little I think they're called a beta light. It just means that you can, obviously with the lid over, see down into the bag. It's helpful, but it also helps you to be able to gain access into here. I've got a military snap stick in case I need to signal for help. I've just gone for the good old-fashioned life straw in case I get caught short on water. Good old-fashioned dirty grape fat stick, and another fire striker. Spare batteries, 2 long guide rope for the tent. First thing that's going to come out when we do a stop, so I'm going to want to get as warm as possible. I've gone for the British military warmers with the micro fleece inside. So if those of you who haven't seen one of these before, what's great about these? Microfiber inner. Okay, so this will be my pillow at night time. I'll turn the whole thing inside out. Big pocket at the front with zips all along underneath the arms, pockets along the front, this windproof outer. Okay, and it's even got this kind of whole sort of shell hood. This will cover my mid layer, my windproof. Obviously I've got my coat as my outer, and then underneath I'm going to have a base layer. So this is an essential piece of kit, and I'm going to need to get to it quickly, get it on when I'm stopping to minimise the amount of calories being lost. Inside this insulated bag is my power pack. Okay, so I've just got one of those kind of anchor packs there, charging cable. Okay, my phone charger is going to go in here as well. Inside here I've got this is my base layer. I've got some merino trousers and a top, just in an old sandwich bag. Here's the really cool part. I've got spare base layer. This is going to be my sleep system. So there's a couple of reasons I've gone for this. As you can see here, it's pretty small. Okay, and this is actually a burrow from a company called Katoma Tough in America. And this is the same model that if you watched my one of my tarps and tents videos, I talked about having coffin nightmares inside, because at the time I was sleeping inside this thing. It's a pop-up one-person tent with an integral built-in mosquito net. This company have taken this thing, and you can kind of see you need to be careful, because when it pops open, it really pops open. It's got small fiberglass poles, it's all built in. One super lightweight thin aluminium pole that goes from one end to the other. As soon as you release this clip, the whole thing jumps out at you. I've added my own elasticated safety toggle. This is the Wolverine fly sheet that goes over the top. I've not even tested it yet. You can see what I mean now about having this here. If this was dark, I'd be able to look inside here and pick up the things I need. Okay, so we've got a personal administration bag. I've gone for some shower in a can, treated myself. A little bit of pseudo-creme in case I get a bit of big boy rub between my legs. Original sauce with some tea tree in it, just to make that do its job a little bit better. And there's a microfiber towel, some more toilet paper and some facial wash and some bits in there. This is the main bulk of my food. It's pretty heavy. Chorizo. In here I've got some small waxed cheeses and good old-fashioned shop bought couscous with garlic and tomato. Lunch is pretty much a constant for me. This is all of my evening meals and breakfasts, and a lot of it's dehydrated rations. So this is the Camelback with 3 litres in it, and a tube leads around the back here, and you'll see I've rigged it so that it goes out, through and in. Now the tube has been left facing inwards, so it's easy for me to get to. So having never owned one before, I decided to get my hands on a down bag. It's a blue kazoo from North Face. I have put it inside a British military bivvy bag, so quite heavy duty Gore-Tex. Now bearing in mind that this isn't new, but it has just been dry cleaned, and I've kept it lofted right up until I packed it. I'm hoping it's going to perform well for me. Now one thing I need to do is make sure that I get it out slightly earlier in advance to allow it to loft and start to open up and the down to kind of separate and do its thing before I go jumping into it, which is slightly different to the military sleeping bags, which are just jump in and go, instant warmth. So yeah, that pretty much covers it.